afternoon, everyone. It's already February, but today there is it's the 3rd of February, the very beginning of the month, but at the same time, at least according to the traditional old Japanese calendar, it's the last day of winter. Can you imagine? The last day of winter. From tomorrow we are starting spring, at least on the calendar. It's still cold, and sometimes it still snows in Japan, so it's not spring as such. Although, as I mentioned last time, in February, the highlight or the thing that I love the most is the blooming of Japanese apricot. It's called ume. So very beautiful. Sometimes when you go through, when you visit different kind of places, even if you can't see the tree, you can feel the fragrance. Very beautiful, delicate fragrance. And then I think in 2 or 3 weeks it will start to bloom. I like ume more. I think they are more beautiful than cherries, which cherry blossoms in 1 month's time. It's maybe because of it's like the first sigh of relief after winter. So this is something that I'm really looking forward to. So and at the same time, in the place where I live, there are a couple of trees of ume, and then they already started to bloom. So they're white, and sometimes they're pink. So they're similar to sakura. So this is the season that we are in now, at least here in this part of the world. And actually today I was thinking, when I was on the train, I was thinking what to tell you, because we met last week, so we had only 1 week break, and here we are meeting again. And I would like to share with you or introduce to you one of the haiku poem, Japanese haiku poem, one of my favorite haiku poems, because we often talk about Zen, we read about Zen, or we do Zazen, as we do also here every month. You do it at home or somewhere else, maybe in the place of practice. But it's not only about sitting, but also about expression, how you express it in your daily life. And you can express it with your thoughts, what kind of thoughts you cultivate, we could say, within the formal practice. And then what kind of action you take, bodily actions, how you behave in your daily life. And then also how you express it verbally, through the language that you use. And the most difficult thing that we have as a task of Zen practitioner is to express it somehow in our own individualistic way. So it has to be our own expression. If we want to express it just repeating what other people said, so it's not authentic. So it has to come from your own, from the depth of your own self. As what's his name? One of the I think he was French philosopher who wrote that Picard, I think his name was, and he wrote in his books that the authentic words have to come from silence. They come from silence. Otherwise, it's just noise. So when you turn on TV or when you turn on the radio, maybe you can watch something on YouTube. It's all about noise. It's just noise coming out of noise, and it's true. It's sometimes when you see some program, within 20 minutes, it's possible to tell the story of a person's whole life within 20 minutes or within even 10 minutes. So it's all like fast forward, and then shoot, next one, and next one, and then commercial, and next one, and commercial, next one. So it's like noise after noise, noise after noise. There's no space in between. But he said that the word with capital letter, there has to be this silence which is in the background. So the word comes from the silence, and once you have this silence, once you are settled within this silence, silence is not like a passive thing. It expresses itself linguistically. So we could say on a very pragmatic level that we cultivate this silence or stillness, we could say, cultivate this stillness within our formal practice of meditation or Zazen. But then at the same time, words that come out of this silence are, we could say, true Zen words, we might say, so colloquially speaking. So these words are different than the words that we use when we do it outside of our practice. That's why when we have, you can ask, wow, there are so many Zen words, or there's a huge canon of Zen literature within, well, Japanese, Chinese tradition, because this is all individualistic expression. So every master, every teacher, every person who expressed it, then maybe it was written down, so we could count that there is a person with one expression. So we have two people, we have already two expressions, and it goes further and further. That's why, coming back to what I said in the beginning, how you express it is important, but then at the same time it's your own individual expression. It is your own sincere, authentic expression. It's your own thing. So the haiku, the poem that I would like to share with you, I will give you the background of the poem so that you could it's easier to understand and it's easier to grasp what I want to say. It happened, I think, 300 years ago or something in Edo period in Japan, and there was the name of the poet, the haiku writer. His name was Hyosui Taki. He's not so maybe not so popular in the West. In Japan, maybe not so popular too. But he left a few very amazing, very beautiful poems, and one of them too that I will introduce to you. And he was living in a village. And he was very popular. He was living in a small hut, and he sort of enjoyed his life, just enjoying the nature and writing haiku. He didn't meet with sort of more like privileged people, with politicians and sort of high status people. So he was kind of staying aloof. But he was very popular and very liked among the local community. And one day, a priest, a Buddhist priest from a local village temple came because he heard about this Hyosui Taki's reputation, that he's a very enlightened person and he's really sort of resolved to the great matter of life and death, and he can express it within haiku. So his reputation is very noble. He's a very noble person. So the priest wanted to meet him, and he visited his place. But Hyosui was not there. So the priest was surprised, and he asked one of the people who were living nearby, where is he? Where is Hyosui now? And then the one woman said that, oh, actually he caught a cold and he went to a local village to get to the doctor to get a medicine. And then when the priest heard this story, he was really disillusioned and he was really shocked, and he said, what? Such a greatly realized being like Hyosui, he cared about some stupid cold and he went to get some medicine? Are you kidding me? And then he left. And then after some time, Hyosui came back and he heard about the whole story. And then he said, so where is this priest? And then the woman said, well, he just left. He was angry that you were not here and you take care about some cold or something. And then Hyosui said, give me a piece of paper. And then the woman gave him a piece of paper, and he wrote this haiku, and he said, please give it to the priest. And when the priest read this haiku, he felt really ashamed or what he thought. And what the haiku was, the haiku was when I translate it into English, it will be longer because it's always like that. Haiku is very short, but when you translate it into English, it goes like that. A woman diver also wears a straw raincoat, and she takes care not to get wet as she goes to the beach. Once again, yeah? A woman diver also wears a straw raincoat, and she takes care not to get wet as she goes to the beach. This was the haiku, this was the poem. Hama made wa ama mo minokiru shigure kana in Japanese. And when the priest saw it, he was really ashamed of his behavior, and he came back to Hyosu and he apologized to him. But what kind of teaching is within this haiku? Well, you can, of course, you can interpret it in your own words. But this idea that when we start, for example, me too, I had this idea that when you learn it, and when you read about it in scriptures, in teachings, maybe teachers also tell you that once you start to practice, you should discard everything that you should get rid of what is the so-called mundane, and you forget about yourself, and you forget about your life, and the only thing that you have to do is just practice. So who would care about cold? If you or who would care about pain, for example? So then we have lots of romantic stories about people who eat only a bowl of rice a day, or maybe people who don't sleep for 3 weeks and they sit all the time in meditation, or maybe people who, I don't know, who levitate, or people who, even if they are sick, they still practice and really they forget about themselves. We have lots of stories like that. But it's not so easy. And then or it's not so straightforward, we could say. And the Hyosui, when he wrote this haiku, it was just cold. And he went to get medicine. And then he expressed it in his words that a woman diver, why does she have to wear a straw raincoat? She will get wet anyway because she's a diver. So this is her job, to be wet, right? This is her job, to be wet. So maybe the same day, if she has afternoon job or something, she will dive into the sea and she will get wet anyway. So why does she care about a straw raincoat when she goes to the beach in order not to get wet? Well, the answer is simple. She really takes care of herself. But we have still at the same time we have this idea that no, I shouldn't take care of myself. I should forget about myself. I should not, from now on, I'm a Buddhist, I don't go to the cinema. Or I'm a Buddhist, I don't meet with people who go to the cinema or something. I remember many years ago, when I was introduced to Buddhist teaching and practice, and then the biggest problem was that everyone wanted to be a bodhisattva. Everyone wanted to be such a good person, which is of course a good thing to do, to be a good person. I don't say we should be bad people, and then we had lunch, and then I don't remember, maybe 5 people or 6 people, friends, and then we shared food, so we had lots of food on the table. And then we were eating, there were some cakes, etc., etc. And then after like 2 or 3 hours, we were sitting and talking at the table. So only a piece of cake was left, and everyone wanted to eat it. But at the same time, it was after the lecture of Buddhist teacher, and everyone had this idea that no, I should forget about myself. I'm not going to eat it. But you could see, actually we burst in laughter after all, because we had the same idea that, no, you eat, no, you eat, no. But everyone wanted to eat this piece. I forgot about myself, I'm only thinking about others. And then you had this piece of cake. Probably nobody ate it anyway in the end. So that's why in a Buddhist practice it's always said that doing a good thing is actually the most dangerous thing to do. Because when you do a bad thing, when you do something bad, there is still a chance that you will reflect and you will say, I'm sorry. What I did was wrong. And I want to change myself. It sometimes can happen. But at the same time, when you do a good thing, and everyone wants to pray, and everyone praises you, how good person he is, or she is. He's such a wonderful person. He's doing everything he's doing is just good things. All the time he's working for others. So, how you feel then? I feel great, right? I feel really great. Please praise me more. Say something more about me. So this is really dangerous. When you do a good thing, when you in some sort of like don't care about yourself. So it's really dangerous. So in this haiku too, she can get cold, the diver, right? So she takes care of herself. As one Zen teacher said, when he was asked what Zen is, he all the time answered. Every time he answered was to live in a true way, or to live in a sincere way, or to live in a wholehearted way. This is maybe what this haiku wants to teach us: to live in a wholehearted way. So everything that comes to you, you welcome it. You don't neglect it. Or, in other words, you could say you take care of what is, including yourself. So sometimes we have this truly altruistic idea of helping others if they are sick. And we have all these hospices, Zen something clinics, whatever, and it's really a beautiful thing. But what happens when you get sick? So Hyosui said, well, I got sick and I went to the village, to the doctor to get medicine, because I got cold, which is a natural thing to do. The most natural thing to do, but at the same time, the most difficult thing to do. So how to truly live, how to live in a sincere way, means how you treat the things that come in your way. Do we have the space to welcome it all? Or we live with an idea that I should be this, or I should be that, or I should be something different, or I should be something different, right? So in the same way as you could say, but she will get wet after all, or she will get wet, the woman diver from the poem, right? She will get wet after all, or anyway she will get wet. So sometimes we have this idea of, but after all, you have to do something now, and say, no, but after all I will do it tomorrow. Or anyway, I can do it next week. It's the same thing, right? But maybe we could reverse it and say it in a more kind of like Zen-like way, right? And you say, but after all, I'm here. Or anyway, I'm here. So I have to take care of this moment. When someone asks me to do something, the situation appears, and then what I will do. It's all about me, of course, right? It's all about me. So the Buddha taught that once you really take care of yourself, it's obvious that you cannot be bad to others. Or in other words, when you really take care of yourself, At the same time, automatically or naturally, you take care of others. But for this reason, we hear teachings, right? And then it could be a comment on this haiku that I just mentioned. A woman diver also wears a straw raincoat, and she takes care not to get wet as she goes to the beach. So commenting on that, there is one beautiful sentence that was left by another Japanese poet. He died very young. Maybe he was 32, 3, as far as I remember. And his name was Masaoka Shiki. And he spent most of his last years lying in bed. He had asthma and he was coughing all the time with blood, and he was looking at the garden from his little room and writing poems. And then in one of his diaries, he wrote such words, and he wrote, I was convinced that enlightenment means that you can die with a calm mind and composure in whatever situation finds you. But I was wrong. And I understood that enlightenment is not about dying with calm mind and composure in whatever situation finds you, but about living with calm mind and composure in whatever situation finds you. So how you take care of this moment? Do you take care with it with calm mind and composure? Or in other words, do you really embrace it and do whatever you can? So when it's raining, you take umbrella, right? That's all. You don't curse the heavens and the rain and all nature, how bad it is, and it destroyed all your day. But you just take umbrella and you go out. Or when it's windy, you put some hat or scarf or something, and you take care of yourself and you go out. Then the day looks completely different. Rather than grumbling, mumbling, and complaining about what situation you are stuck in. So a woman diver also wears a straw raincoat, as she cares not to get wet, and she cares not to get wet as she goes to the beach. Hama made wa ama mo mi no kiru shigure kana in Japanese. So let it be our Zen word for this month, the last day of winter here in Japan. And let's sit together as we always do. So first of all, what we have to do is to take care of your body, right? So take a comfortable position, whether you are sitting, I can't see you, so, but if you are sitting at home, you have a cushion or a zafu, whatever you have. So make sure that you sit comfortably. If you can sit half lotus, you can sit half lotus. If you can sit full lotus, you can sit full lotus. Maybe some of you sit on the chair. It's also fine. So take care of this posture here and now, right? Make sure that your knees are on the floor. You sit straight. Your chest is open. Spend a while, a few moments, and feel how, check the feeling tone, how you feel. After all, we are here, right? After all, we are here. So after all, if we are here, so let's use it as much as we can. And then put your hands on your lap, left hand on your right hand. Let your eyes fall naturally to the ground. Don't close them. Close your mouth and breathe naturally through your nose. And let's cultivate for a few minutes this sense of stillness and silence. Together. your hands together and bow. Then put your hands on your knees. If you are sitting in a formal position, so sway a few times from left to right before you stand up. So thank you for joining this last class of this winter, at least here in Japan. And the next one will take place on 29th of March. So last time we had 1 week break, and then we are going to have almost 2 months break. So 2-month break. So I'm looking forward to see you on the 29th of March. It's going to be a cherry blossom season. So lots of pink and nice, and I'm really sad that I cannot meet you here, sitting with you together. But well, maybe one day it will change. I'm really praying for that. So please take care of yourselves, and see you in 2 months. Thank you for joining.